earthquake. This one left a trail of destruction that will take years to recover from. Here's what we know so far. The first tremors were felt in China's Yunnan province, rattling cities and sending people running into the streets.
Oh! 地震！哎呦我操！ Oh my god!
In just a few minutes, entire cities shook. Buildings swayed, roads split apart, and the earth groaned under immense pressure. A devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake has struck Myanmar, sending shockwaves across Thailand and China. In Ruili, a border city with Myanmar, multiple buildings sustained heavy damage. Parking garages collapsed, and homes were left on the brink of ruin. 2 people were seriously injured, and hundreds evacuated in fear of aftershocks. Quake's reach extended beyond Yunnan, with tremors reported in Sichuan, Guizhou, and even parts of Guangxi. While China avoided massive casualties, the damage to homes, businesses, and infrastructure is staggering. But the quake's fury didn't stop there. It sent ripples into Thailand, reaching as far as Bangkok, where it triggered a nightmare scenario. Imagine walking in the heart of the city when suddenly the ground starts shaking. Skyscrapers sway, and then disaster strikes. A 33-story building under construction collapses like a house of cards, sending a cloud of dust and debris into the air.
อุ๊ยทุกคนมันไหวอีกแล้วอุ๊ยมันไหวอีกแล้วอุ๊ยฝ
At least 6 people have lost their lives, with over 100 still trapped beneath the rubble. Emergency teams are working against time, sifting through the wreckage to find survivors. With aftershocks continuing to rattle the city, fear grips Bangkok as authorities assess whether other high-rises might be at risk. But nothing compares to what happened at the earthquake's epicenter in Myanmar. This was ground zero for devastation. Entire villages have been wiped out. Roads are unrecognizable, split open by the sheer force of the tremor. Bridges have crumbled, isolating communities and making rescue efforts nearly impossible. The official death toll has already reached 694, with over 1,667 injured and at least 68 still missing. But experts fear the real number could be in the thousands. The situation is dire. Rescue teams, already stretched thin due to ongoing civil unrest, are struggling to reach the worst-hit areas. Myanmar's government has called for international aid, with China, Russia, India, and the UN sending emergency supplies. Yet, for thousands left homeless, food, clean water, and shelter are still out of reach. Is watching as this crisis unfolds. The earthquake has exposed weaknesses in infrastructure, disaster response, and emergency preparedness across the region. The destruction in Myanmar, the collapse in Bangkok, and the widespread tremors in China have sparked urgent conversations about seismic risks in Southeast Asia. How could this happen? Could it have been prevented? And what does this mean for the future of earthquake-prone regions?
5-story building crumbling as onlookers fled.
If you want to help, consider donating to relief efforts supporting those affected by this tragedy. Every contribution matters. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as new information comes in.
The construction collapsed, sending dust and debris into the air. Emergency responders were dispatched to the scene near the Chatachok market, though the number of casualties remained uncertain. A strong 6.4 magnitude aftershock followed. Prompting officials to warn residents against returning to buildings prematurely. Witnesses in Yangon reported mass evacuations, with people rushing into the streets. Reports also surfaced of a tea shop collapsing with individuals trapped inside, and a mosque suffering extensive damage. The tremors were felt as far as China's Yunnan province, though no casualties were reported there. Thailand's Prime Minister declared a state of emergency in Bangkok, a city home to over 17 million people. As authorities assess the impact, the Department of Disaster Prevention confirmed that tremors were felt nationwide. Raising concerns over further aftershocks. Emergency teams continued search and rescue operations as coordinators braced for possible further seismic activity.
Witnesses described the ground shaking uncontrollably as structures buckled and crumbled, burying people alive, one of the worst in modern history. Warning that aftershocks continue to rattle the region, further endangering already weakened buildings. Split apart, making it nearly impossible for emergency services to reach some of the most affected communities. In addition to collapsing homes, fires have broken out due to damaged gas lines. Residents in the Thai capital reported feeling the tremors for nearly 2 minutes, causing widespread panic as terrified people rushed into the streets. In Bangkok's Chatuchak district, a 30-story high-rise under construction collapsed, trapping dozens of workers inside. Emergency teams are digging through the debris, desperately searching for survivors. Skyscrapers shook violently, with glass windows shattering and furniture toppling over inside apartments and offices.
เราจะขึ้นไปดูวะไม่ขึ้นไปเหรอทำไมมันแกว่งเนี่ยไหนเฮ้ยข้างบนแม่งแกว่งแล้วเฮ้ยเฮียโอ้ยตัดโอ้ยไอ้เฮียโอ้ย
Everything was shaking. It felt like the entire city was swaying, said Anong Shaiziri, a bank employee in downtown Bangkok. I ran outside with my colleagues, and we could see people crying and shouting. It was like something out of a disaster movie.
ดูไฟระเบิดมันระเบิดแล้วอะยืนอยู่นึกว่าหน้ามืดเมื่อกี้
ผมก็นึกว่าหน้ามืด
เฮียกูเป็นไรวะเยังมันจะถล่มแล้วน่ะมันจะหลุดแล้วน่ะจะล่วงแล้วโอเคนั่นนะครับไปแล้วล่วงแล้วพี่เอ้ยทั้งตึกเลยตัดเอ้ย
In some areas, the metro system halted, leaving thousands of commuters stranded. Several older buildings in Bangkok have suffered structural damage, with cracks visible in bridges, overpasses, and apartment blocks.
สึกสตงที่ปปอ่ะแล้วคนเป็นไรปะวะเฮียคนงานบานเลย
Authorities have urged people to stay outdoors in case of further tremors. Trying to rescue those still trapped beneath collapsed buildings. Neighboring countries India, China, South Korea, and Japan have already pledged to send aid, including rescue teams and medical supplies. Where significant structural damage has been reported. Strong shaking lasted for nearly a minute, causing panic among residents, with many rushing out of homes and buildings in fear of potential collapses. In China's Yunnan province, the earthquake was strongly felt in cities along the China-Myanmar border, particularly in Ruili, Dahom, and Baoshan. Several buildings suffered structural damage, with walls developing large cracks and windows shattering due to the intensity of the tremors. The earthquake has raised concerns over infrastructure stability, particularly in older buildings and large-scale structures, such as bridges and dams.
Emergency services and government authorities have been deployed to assess the damage, secure affected areas, and restore essential services. The China Earthquake Administration has urged residents in Yunnan to remain alert and prepared for possible further tremors. With rescue and recovery operations ongoing as Myanmar and its neighboring countries respond to one of the most powerful earthquakes in recent years. Seismologists and disaster response experts warn that aftershocks can follow in the coming hours or days, and authorities in Myanmar, Thailand, China, India, Bangladesh, and Vietnam have advised residents to remain on high alert.
As new information comes in, subscribe for more in-depth coverage of global disasters. Stay safe, and our thoughts are with everyone impacted by this devastating event.